Askreddit. Women who have proposed to their boyfriends. What made you decide that you didn't want to wait? How did it go? A girl on my FB posted a video of her proposing to her boyfriend on Christmas last year. The video has since been taken down, but it was cringeworthy. Her friends were all there, and he was completely on the spot. You could tell he wanted nothing to do with it, as he just sat there trying to sink into his chair and disappear while all her friends looked on. She kept pleading all the reasons to him why he should marry her, while she was on one knee in front of him. He just sat there in silence until the video ended. I couldn't have felt worse for this guy. She wrote, "Will you marry me?" in refrigerator magnets, and then continued to ask me to get things from the kitchen and fridge all day. She forgot how oblivious I am and got more upset as the day went on, and I didn't act differently. That night in bed she starts crying. I'm super confused, and she looks at me and she says, "Look at the fridge, you idiot." I said yes, but we broke off the engagement a few months before the wedding date. Good thing, cause we both seem much happier now after 5 years apart. Cancun 2005, my birthday. Went for breakfast and came back to the room before getting changed and going to the beach. Opening cards we had brought with us, and the morning was going well. She gets down on one knee and pops the question, "Hi, I might all be saying," but alas I said no. Now don't get me wrong, I love this girl, but I can't have a woman proposing to me. Well, she burst into tears. Quite understandable really. It was only for a moment though, as I asked her straight back, "All's well that ends well." We only married last year though, long engagement. I proposed to my husband. I'd been planning it for months. There's a tradition in Japan, I don't know how old it is, that if you fold 1,000 paper cranes, you get to make a wish, and you get good luck. People hand them out at weddings. I folded 1,000 cranes, and then, while he was sleeping, hung them from the ceiling leading from the bedroom, making a forest of the crane. At the end, I put a sign with an explanation for why there were cranes, and asked him to marry me. He said yes. I don't believe he found it emasculating that I proposed. If anything, he seemed really happy about it, considering I did a better job than he would have. He tells everyone about it. Then again, we don't tend to fit into standard gender roles very well. My mom did this to my stepdad. They were at a bar with a lot of friends, can't remember the occasion, and my mom got up on stage and asked him to marry her. Spotlight hits my stepdad, and he is red as red can be. If you couldn't tell from the wording, he said yes. Also, my mom has ovaries of steel. You don't have to do anything crazy like that, just have fun with it. Maybe he's planning the same thing and this will take a huge weight off of his shoulders. Bartender here. One night a woman from a table in the cocktail lounge stood up, dropped to a knee, and proposed to her boyfriend right then and there. Everyone in the area froze and stared. He said yes. Seemed very awkward though. He didn't seem convinced this was right, and everyone around definitely was talking about it the rest of the night. I don't think we men are good at making life decisions on the spot. We like to think it all out. When it comes to hurting a woman's feelings, or being mildly dissatisfied with my predicament for a few hours, I'll choose the latter. But if I was proposed to, I think I'd hurt her feelings as I would need to chew it over with a Snickers. I asked my husband to marry me. He is the shy, quiet type, and after 4 years of living together, he caught me in a slightly embarrassing moment. His reaction was perfect. I decided right then I wasn't letting him slip away, so I asked him to marry me. He said sure. Not yes, just a simple sure. We have been married 19 years in April. He just walked past me. He works from home, so I asked him how he felt about it. He said, "Never say no to a naked woman. Ever. No regrets." There is a lesson in there somewhere, I'm sure of it. Guess I get to be the lone male story. Was dating a girl in college, had been together maybe 8 months, during which we'd broken up for a brief period. She had a penchant for drama, and seemed like she expected her life to go like a rom-com. Sex was great though, so I figured it'd be fun to let things run their course. We were sitting on the patio, and she was in my lap, and asked me to marry her. I chuckled because I assumed she was joking. We hadn't talked about marriage at all, hadn't had any of the serious conversations about children, finances, goals and aspirations, nothing. So I said, half laughing, that I didn't think we were in a great position. to be considering marriage and that it probably wasn't the best idea. She starts doing that stoic crying business where she's weeping but maintaining eye contact like we're in the goddamned Notebook or some shit. We broke up for good not long after. She married some rich guy who is apparently content to deal with her crazy in exchange for buck nasty sex, and I married someone much more well adjusted, so I guess things worked out for both of us in the end. I proposed to my husband. He loves practical jokes, so I talked to his work buddies. They called him pretending that his current project was on fire. He is an engineer. He drove in and was carefully disassembling his project, looking for the fire, when he found the titanium ring. It was attached with wiring to a piece of sheet metal, which was engraved with "Marry Me." He was incredibly confused, looked at all his coworkers very suspiciously, until I popped out. He laughed and said yes. I don't know why people do serious romantic proposals. Seems like too much pressure. She proposed to me. It was on my birthday, and I completely ruined her plans. She was going to take me out to a nice dinner, a good little dessert place, and then a walk around Lake Eola where she was going to present me with a gift. That was the proposal. Well, I had a really tough day at work that day and came home stressed and with a headache. So when I walked in the door I said, "Honey, I really don't feel like going out. Honestly, what I'd rather do more than anything tonight is order a couple of pizzas and watch a movie with you." To her credit, she took it in stride and said sure, whatever you'd like to do for your birthday, and ordered a couple pizzas. About an hour later she asked me if I wanted to have my present. So she presented me with a box she had crafted that had some personal memories / jokes in the inside of it and an envelope. Inside the envelope was a 25-cent plastic gold ring, another inside joke between the two of us, and a note that said some personal love Adove stuff, and ended with "Will you marry me?" I was really surprised but said yes. We are both private people and had already discussed that we didn't want to do some grandiose proposal like from a hot air balloon or proposing in some fancy restaurant. How did I feel about it? I was really surprised, but I was planning on doing in a few months anyway, so we both knew it was coming. She just beat me to the punch. Honestly, the worst part about it was having to ask for her parents' permission after we had already gotten engaged. It's not the way I wanted to do it, and the whole conversation felt really awkward, but they were awesome about it after they also got over the initial shock. A beautiful woman who I loved with all of my heart, and I still think about her almost every day. She asked me to marry her, but I was afraid, and I said no. I still hear the way her voice broke when the word left my lips. It's my biggest regret in life. My whole life past my early 20s would be wildly different, and probably for the better. I live each day with the choice I made. She's married now to a really great guy. They have 2 children and I talk to her once every several years. I'm in my mid-late 30s, single, never married, with a beautiful dog. I know my life isn't over, and in a lot of ways I'm in a really good place. That memory never goes away though. I know I made the wrong choice. Mine kind of hijacked my proposal. We had been dating for 9 months. I was visiting her at college over a weekend. I had been thinking about proposing to her, but didn't have a ring or anything. We had just gotten done watching a movie and suddenly the urge just hit me to ask her then and there. She got up to go do something, and I stood up, grabbed her hand, and got down on one knee. She dropped down on her knees in front of me, and I said, "No, what are you doing? Stand back up." She said, "No, I'm asking you to." Just about made me cry. Throwaway because my boyfriend is a redditor. I've been toying with the idea of proposing for a while now, but I'm really getting ready to kick it into high gear, and I'm super nervous. We've been together for over 10 years, living together for 8. We always say things like, when we get married and all that sort of stuff, so I know he's not opposed, but I just don't like this waiting for him to decide thing. I've got a super cool awesome ring picked out, and I just need to order it, and we're planning a big vacation in a few months, so I'm thinking that I'll do it then. Or I'll chicken out. I don't know. Do I have to ask his mom's permission? This whole thing freaks me out. I haven't seen any comments that mirrored my own views, so I was finally inspired to make an account. I'll start out by saying that I would have been devastated if my girlfriend proposed to me. We had talked about marriage, and it was definitely going in that direction. I had spent a long time thinking about how I wanted to propose, and it was something that I had been looking forward to getting to do for a long time. From what I've heard, a lot of women have spent a large part of their lives planning and envisioning what their wedding will be like. Imagine if your future husband told you that he wanted to plan the whole thing instead. I spent a long time thinking about and planning how I wanted to propose to the woman of my dreams. I'll defer to her on any of the wedding issues that she feels strongly about, but let me have my moment, damn it. If she had proposed instead of me, I would have still said yes, but I would always regret that I didn't get to have the proposal I had been waiting so long to carry out. Yup, it took 3 tries too. We had the permanent relationship, so this wasn't like most proposals. I already knew we would be staying together. But there are legal/economic benefits for 2 people to be married in the US, and I wanted those. My husband is younger than I am, and frankly, those benefits didn't seem as important to him. About 3 to 4 years into the relationship, I asked him to marry me. Got a why bother? I shrugged it off. Then things in our life changed, including my unemployment, and I asked again. The taxes we paid would be less if we were married. He basically said no, again assuming that the benefits would not be worth it. So about 2 years ago, I asked again, this time with paperwork proving the benefits. I think I'm the only person who successfully got engaged via spreadsheet. Not my story, but my friend asked her boyfriend of 7 years to marry her. She's beautiful, smart, and talented, and he's one heck of a guy, so there was no chance of anything going wrong. Even if they'd have decided to get married with a plastic ring after jumping in wet marshes, which I think is cute, BTW, but she wouldn't go for that. No, she made him an amazing meal, fished out a silver ring right after the champagne, and he was like, you beat me to it, and then he fished out a ring from his pocket. They're so meant to be. Waiting for their wedding. I'm going to be the best maid of honor this world has ever seen. Look, I kinda proposed to my husband. We were deeply connected from the first sight, so the third time we saw each other, in the middle of us professing and dying love to each other, realizing we will never feel happiness without one another, and talking about it, I blurted out something like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could just take the 2 of our friends and go get married, cause I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. Not thinking about what I've said. I didn't even think about it like that, it just rolled off my tongue. And he just looks at me and says, will you marry me then? I was astounded for the next 15 minutes, unable to say a word other than really, for real, trying to process the speed of light my life was moving with, and what the hell happened just now. Of course, there was no doubt in my mind about that being the only way my life can go. There is nothing that makes more sense. Later, he was troubled by not doing it properly and not buying me a ring. He felt like he failed as a man in a way, and I thought that I will always have to carry that I'm the one who asked so soon. What if he regrets it? After a long talk, he explained that not giving me a ring is the problem for many reasons. All I thought is that I don't need anything other than him. It is so silly. And besides, it's not like us, rings and ceremonies. We were a whirlwind. Anyway, he thought about it a lot, and in the end he took the 1670 years old Roman coin, which he gave me the day we met, and pierced it to make a pendant of it. And he officially proposed me with the best wedding ring ever at the New Liwat Square. We got married within 3 months since we met. Looking back to it, after a few years and a kid, still wouldn't change a thing. It felt so natural. It is by far the easiest thing I have ever done. I always get happy and excited thinking about being his wife for the rest of my life. I have the sweetest reference story for this. One of my best friends likes to do things different than everyone else. She decided she was going to propose to her boyfriend on Christmas Day. We took pictures of her holding different signs that added up to "Will you marry me?" I was involved in her whole plan, helping her set it up. She was going to frame the pictures and wrap it for him on Christmas. It was great. The day we are choosing which poses to use, her boyfriend texts me and asks me to find out her ring size because he wants to propose to her on Christmas. I didn't tell either of them what the other was doing. He ended up proposing on Christmas Eve and beat her to it, but was thrilled that she was going to ask him.